Hey, it's Kat here, and I want to share with you two compelling traits that you need in order to influence people. If you have a business or you're wanting to grow a business, if you want to attract more clients, and if you want to be more effective, more compelling, if you want to be able to help more people and make a bigger difference, you really need to have the skill of influence. And there are two main traits that you need to have in order to influence people. Now, let's just go through why it's so important to be able to influence people, because it's not something that we're born with. The skill of influence is something we need to master and practice, because no one's born with it. It's like any skill that we can get better at and learn more and more about for the rest of our lives. It's a skill that I love learning about, I love practicing, I love reading about it, and I love helping other people with it. Because when you know how to influence, it's not about manipulating people to do what you want them to do. That's for your own gain. But influence is helping people get what they want. Actually helping people find out what is in the way between where you are now and where you want to be. And that is effective influence. If you look at successful people, they have an ability to influence people, because business is all about relationships. It's not getting better at just sitting behind your laptop and getting good at technology, although that's part of business. You need to be able to build good relationship skills, communication skills, and influence is one of those. So if you want to help people be the best that they can be, if you want to help them overcome their problems, then you've got to get good at influence. It's going to help you make more money. It's going to help you attract more clients. It's going to help you draw in more joint ventures and partnerships and just colleagues and friends, and just have a richer, more fulfilling life and a more fulfilling business. If you can be charismatic, if you can be confident, if you can be attractive, then you're going to be like a magnet to the right people in your business. Think about the people in your life that you're currently influencing. You know, if you're a parent, if you're a teacher, if you have colleagues, if you have staff, if you have a boss, if you have people that you live with, if you have a tribe, a community on Facebook, Instagram, like these are all people that you're influencing. So you already are an influencer. You don't need to be a big celebrity or have a brand to be an influencer. That's kind of been taken over as the word influencer, but you don't need that. It's who is your tribe, your community, who are your followers, who is watching your life. Maybe that's clients, maybe that's people coming to your workshop, people reading, your staff, watching your webinars. These are all people that you're already influencing, so we can get better at that skill. Now, these two traits, you really need to have both of these traits in balance. If you just have one of the traits, it doesn't work. You actually need to have both of them, and you need to have them in a good balance. When I realized this, and when I discovered this, I could see why so many people are struggling, because they are sitting down one end of the spectrum and they don't have that sweet spot. So we don't want to be extreme. We want to learn how to master having both of these traits. And the traits are, number one, to influence people, number one, you need strength. And number two, you need warmth. So you need strength and warmth. So you might have heard this talked about before, where there is equal and opposite reaction, right? Whenever there's good, there's bad. Whenever there's light, there's shade. So it happens through all the laws of the universe. It's masculine, feminine. So if we try and just master one of them, it's going to tip the equilibrium out. It's going to unbalance things. If you have too much strength and not enough warmth, you won't be compelling. If you have too much warmth and not enough strength, you won't be compelling. Strength and warmth together is an incredibly powerful combination if you get them in balance, and people will just be attracted to you. They'll want to spend time with you, and you'll just become a people magnet. So let's talk about each one of them. So strength, I'm going to talk quite extreme strength. Strength can be very direct. If it's too extreme, it can be very blunt. It can come across as kind of forceful. But strength is that sense of inner ability. It's competence. It's confidence. It's, a strong person, we often respect them, and we can be really influenced from them because they're very competent. So often they're in leadership positions, but strength alone is not the key to great leadership or great influence. You know, without the warmth, we might respect them, but we may not like them. We may not feel warm and drawn to them. So strength is about competency. You know, those people that are super competent, super confident, you can feel quite safe in them because that masculine energy can provide a safety, like a protective safety. I remember when I was a little kid and we had a candle because we had a blackout, we had a power cut. And we had a candle, and the candle actually caught fire, or the blinds in the kitchen caught fire. And I remember saying, the first thing I said to my mum is, I wish Dad would come home. I wish Dad would come home. I don't know why I thought Dad would magically make it better, but I just remember wanting that male presence in that situation. My mum was very warm, and she was strong as well. She is strong as well, but it was just a memory that, yeah, I'll never forget, wanting that strength of the masculine to come in and kind of feel safe. So when you're competent, when you're strong, you can help people get what they want. You can show them that you're the person that can get them from A to B. So we need this quality of strength because people feel very safe and supported in your strength because you're strong. It's about respect. It's about, it's more testosterone driven. So men tend to have more of this, but there's definitely women that have this. And it's more of like a feminine, masculine thing rather than a male-female thing. But generally you'll find that if people have a lot of that testosterone, they can be quite influential, but they also need to balance it with the warmth. Like, think about if you're selling your services and you're just strong and forceful and direct and blunt, you're probably not going to make that sale. But if you're just warm and you're super warm and kind of fluffy and, oh, that's awesome, like whatever you like, and you have a think about it, and I don't want to push you, I don't want to pressure you. If you just are overly warm, you're not going to make the sale either, right? Because people want to feel safe. They want to know that you're credible. They want to know that you can help them make a great decision. They want to know that you can call them on their stuff. You know, hey, let's get this going, you know, let's get this happening. I'm sure you're fed up with this. You know, people that are overly warm and overly emotional sometimes aren't good at really saying to someone, hey, let's make a decision, let's get a result, let's get this happening, you know? So let's talk about the warmth side of the equation. So warmth is that perception that someone really cares for us. They listen, they understand, they empathize. So a lot of warmth is empathy, understanding, validating your feelings. You know, imagine being in a sales process where you're about to make an expensive buying decision and you don't feel that that person is validating your feelings. You're going to be put off, right? I'm sure you've been in that kind of sales conversation where it's all about pushing for the sale. And I teach sales, and one of the biggest things that people say to me is that they don't want to come across too pushy. So if you're just in your strength and you don't balance it with enough warmth, then you'll put people off. So warm people, we need that warmth. We need that to connect with people. We need to smile. We need to empathize. We need to nod and agree. We need to listen, validate that person's emotions, help them feel really safe and comfortable. It's a different kind of safety. There's safety and strength. There's also safety and warmth because you feel heard, you feel seen, and you feel comfortable. So with this energy, it's about showing someone, hey, you're safe with me, you can be vulnerable, you can open up. It's our nurturer, it's our feminine, and it's about making people feel really accepted and loved. So with the warmth side of the equation, you tend to be a little bit smaller with your gestures. Your body language is usually more smiling, more open. So you might have open palms, for example. We might be a little bit more asymmetrical. So the head might go to the side. You might kind of, you know, compared to the strength, which is very symmetrical, very certain, very strong. So think about how your body language is communicating whether you need to bring in more warmth into the conversation or more strength into the conversation. And we go like an infinity symbol, like a figure 8 with this. We need to go in and out of our warmth and our strength. So For example, if you want to say something that's in your strength, you'll be symmetrical, you'll be certain, you'll be strong. You might even have your hands on your hips, like, maybe enough is enough. Maybe it's time to just get this happening. Whereas if you feel that person thinks that you're being too strong, too direct, then you can soften it up and, bring the open palms, bring the asymmetry in. So that's the body language. We also, with our body language, strong energy is usually bigger. It's more, taking up bigger space, whereas warmth is more drawn in. You're more drawing people in. You might draw them in and actually touch them on the shoulder. You might make your gestures smaller. Whereas if you want to bring more strength, and if you sense that you're too much down on that warmth end of the spectrum, you might bring in bigger gestures. You might talk louder, stronger, and draw that, command that respect again through your body language. So those are things that we can adjust if we feel that we're too much on one end or the other of the spectrum. So it's basically yin and yang. It is competency and compassion. Strength is the competency, warmth is the compassion. It's respect and connection, and we need both. We need to balance it. So for example, let's say that you're wanting to influence someone that you're working with, you're in a sales conversation. The majority is probably going to be warmth, really open, asking questions, being vulnerable, showing that you're safe, that you care about them, you validate their feelings. And then when you go to maybe make an offer, you might come more into turning on your strength. You might say, hey, look, I know that you're sick and tired of this. You're fed up. Let's get rid of that. Let's move on. Why don't we get started? And you probably won't do that. I'm just kind of giving you an extreme example so you can kind of get the difference. Because if you just stay in your warmth the whole time and just say, oh, how do you feel? And what would you like to do? And if you go all passive, it kills the sale. But if you come on too strongly and you're really dictator-like and very blunt, you can kill the sale before it's even begun. Now, this happens not only when you're in an actual formal sales conversation, but all the time on all of your marketing. And your marketing is how you show up in the world, how you treat people, how you talk to people, how you show up to events, how you show up for your community online. They can tell if you're either too strong or too warm. So this is not just when you're, okay, I really want to influence this person. This is all the time, the way you show up in life. So are you more in your strength or are you more in your warmth? And you'll feel it. You'll know by your tonality, by your body language, by your words, by what you're saying, how you're saying it, and the way you're communicating it if you're on one end of the spectrum or the other. So really have a think about what end of the spectrum do you naturally sit at, and how can you come across to more to the middle so that you're bringing in, because you have both of these traits, you already have both of them within you. It's kind of just like a volume knob. So you need to turn up one and turn down the other in certain situations. And intuitively, you'll start to, if you really pay attention and put awareness around this, you'll start to feel when one is needed more than the other. And the more you practice it and be conscious of it, then you'll start using it in your videos, in your writing, in your workshops, in all of your communication. You'll be incredibly influential and you'll come across as an incredibly compelling person. And I'll just leave you with a quote that I love, which is, if you want to be liked, you need to like people. When you genuinely like people, you want to serve them. When you want to serve them, you will be influential. And the best of you is when you can get a good balance between strength and warmth. If you get these two things right, you will absolutely be unstoppable, my friend. So go and practice them this week. I'd love to hear how you go. I'd love to hear your own experiences about this, and just notice the way other people are communicating, whether they're coming across really strong or really warm. So you start to see it. You start to see it in text messages when people are either really strong or overly warm. Partly you can tell by how many emojis are in there, by the way. Little clues. So I hope this has really helped you. If you want to know more about how to influence people and sign up clients, I'm going to pop some links on how you can take the next steps together. And I would love to work with you more on this and help you be more influential and fulfill your business dreams by becoming a more compelling person. So I look forward to talking to you soon. In the meantime, go out there and practice strength and warmth in beautiful balance. I'll talk to you again soon. Bye.